Hi, and welcome to May. The federal budget this week gave us another important insight into where the property market may be heading and what it could mean for the Sunshine Coast over the next few years. Nationally, the focus remains on cost of living pressures, inflation management, infrastructure investment, housing supply, and economic stability. For our region, the Sunshine Coast continues to benefit from very strong long-term fundamentals. We still have population growth, internal migration, lifestyle-driven relocation, major infrastructure projects, health investment, transport upgrades, and the long-term Olympic timeline all supporting demand. And over the next 3 to 4 years, I still believe stock levels will remain relatively tight in what is fundamentally a supply versus demand-driven market. However, markets do not move in straight lines. As more development projects are unveiled, particularly around the Maroochydore CBD and surrounding growth corridors, we are likely to see ebbs and flows in buyer activity and sentiment. What we are already noticing is a shift in behaviour. Inquiry levels have reduced slightly. Buyers are still active, but they are more measured, more analytical, and taking longer to make decisions. Importantly, this is not yet translated into price reductions. Prices are still holding firm. At the same time, global uncertainty, including ongoing tensions involving Iran and the Middle East, continues to place pressure on inflation expectations and energy prices. If inflation remains elevated, interest rates may stay higher for longer, and that directly impacts borrowing capacity and affordability. We're also seeing growing discussion around potential future changes to capital gains tax, which may influence investor behaviour moving forward. So, while the Sunshine Coast story remains very strong, I do believe we are transitioning into a more mature phase of the market. Not a negative market, a more strategic market. The rate of growth may moderate and we may see more uneven conditions as new supply enters over time, but the underlying fundamentals of the Sunshine Coast remain extremely solid. For owners who have seen significant growth over the past 3 to 4 years, now is simply the time to review whether your current position still aligns with your long-term strategy. Because in changing markets, timing, planning, and clarity become increasingly important. If you would like a no-pressure conversation about your position or the current market, feel free to reach out anytime.